Out front now, President Alexander Stubb of Finland. And President Stubb, so President Trump this weekend said, and I'm quoting him, something has happened to Vladimir Putin. He went on to say, quoting again, that he's gone absolutely crazy. Is that how you would describe Putin right now?
Well, I've been speaking with President Trump on numerous occasions, and I think there's always a strategy behind what Putin does, and that strategy is a strategy of delay. And while we're speaking, he continues his war of aggression in Ukraine, and we're talking about at least 5,000 dead or wounded soldiers per day. So if that's defined as crazy, then so be it.
You mentioned your many conversations with President Trump. I know you had a surprise visit with him in Mar-a-Lago this spring, and you played golf. And I know you're an extremely good golfer. So he then posted a picture of you. He was praising your golf skills. Obviously, that was just before tariffs. But even after the tariffs were announced, Mr. President, you sat next to Trump at Pope Francis's funeral. So how often do you speak with him?
Well, you know, I've had the opportunity to obviously meet him on a few occasions and then speak over the phone fairly regularly. And, you know, it's normal diplomatic exchanges of ideas. And I'm glad that I can do that because, as you understand, I come from a small country. And whenever the president of a small country is able to speak with the president of the United States, it's a good part of our diplomacy.
A small country, but a crucial country, and you have the longest land border with Russia in Europe. So when you talk of Putin, you know of what you speak, right? About 830 miles, we're showing it here. Right now, Putin is building up his military along Finland's border. Mr. President, what exactly are you seeing him do along your border right now? What is happening?
Well, I mean, we Finns are cool, calm and collected, and sometimes when you see things in the international media, it's perhaps a little bit twisted. We have the border under full control. Russia has always had military bases along our border, and there's a normal buildup. You have to remember that 4 brigades were moved from the Leningrad military district when the war began in Ukraine, and our expectation is that there will be a buildup after the war is over, and that buildup will continue. And, you know, the reason is very simple. We have one of the largest militaries in Europe, together with Turkey, Ukraine and Poland, and on top of that we have just doubled NATO's border. So that's normal Russian activity. We have obligatory military service, 900,000 men and women who've done it. We have over 60 F-18s. We just bought 64 F-35s. We have the largest artillery in Europe together with Poland. And as I keep on saying, we don't have it because we're worried about Sweden. We have it because we want to create a deterrent against Russia. So, you know, one of the borders that the French or anyone else should be least worried about is the Finnish border. As we put it here, we got this, and especially we got this with our allies.
And when you talk about defending that border, one of the most common excuses made for Putin's invasion of Ukraine is this, right? Well, if Putin hadn't wanted, if Ukraine hadn't wanted to join NATO, Putin wouldn't have invaded, right? It's the propaganda that comes out of Moscow. It is also what we hear from some politicians, actually, frankly, including President Trump, who made this exact point. Here he is.
I believe that's the reason the war started, because Biden went out and said that they could join NATO, and he shouldn't have said that.
So they say, look, NATO's on Russia's border. That's why Putin invaded. You can't have NATO along the border. But again, to make the point, you've got the largest land border with Russia, and you are in NATO. So what do you say to those people who will explain and excuse Putin's invasion using the NATO rationale?
Well, probably 2 answers on that. The first one is that I don't think Finland would have joined NATO had not Putin attacked Ukraine. And of course, Finland and Ukraine are a different kettle of fish, and we have a very different history. Now, the second reason is that I think actually Putin made one of the biggest strategic and tactical mistakes in recent military history. He underestimated the power of the Ukrainian army, he overestimated his own army, and he underestimated the resolve of the unity of the West. And look, what was he trying to do? He was trying to make Ukraine Russian. Well, it became European. He tried to split the European Union. I've never seen it more united. He tried to split the transatlantic partnership, and especially NATO, and he ended up with neutral Sweden and Finland joining NATO. So you could perhaps argue that whatever he made was a colossal mistake.
President Stubb, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.